Hey guys, I'm fucking three gnomes in a fat suit, and today I feel like talking about dating. I spent the formative years of where most people are doing relationship shit with one girl. That was freshman year to about the time I could drink. So, a long span of time, which means I didn't develop some of the skills that come natural to most people, like knowing when someone is flirting with you, but at least I'm not as bad as my friend J-Man. I've seen girls literally grinding up against him at parties, and he's just standing there like, yeah, this is what friends do. Or, hey J-Man, could you teach me how to play pool? I can't figure it out, and I need a big, strong, fucking turtle, I guess, man like you to show me, otherwise I'll never learn. And he'd stand 6 feet away and give very technical advice, like, well, you want to line it up, so you're trying to get a 35-degree angle going. Anyways, as I previously said, I dated a fork for, okay, well, my autocorrect changed girl to fork, so sure, why not? I dated a goddamn fork for 7 years. And a lot of who I became was kind of morphed by basically growing up with this fork, but ultimately we had to break it off because we were two totally different people. I mean, she was going off to college and I was going to live in my parents' basement for a few more years. So things weren't just they weren't gonna work out. So we ended it. And it was amiable. Neither of us were the person who did it, so whatever word that is, that's what I'm talking about. Then I rebounded pretty hard with this absolute, and then I went on a date with a stripper. Not intentionally, I should add. I joined Tinder and I made a profile, and one of the things on my profile was, oh, I'll buy you all the food you can eat. And so she messaged me, we matched, and she messaged me and she's like, so how much food is as much as I can eat? And I was like,
I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far.
I remember showing up at her house. It was a nice house. And she's like, yeah, I gotta smoke a bowl. So you can have some or you can wait. And I was like, well, I don't smoke bowls. I don't even smoke cigarettes. So then we went out and we were going to go to this nice restaurant and we ended up just going to Culver's because we live in Wisconsin and everything else was fucking closed. So we went to Culver's and I bought her food and I remember trying to have a conversation with her, but I was bad at it. I remember eventually she was talking and I couldn't form words to say back to her and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm bad at small talk. And she was like, okay, well, we'll just have big talk. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, so do you believe we should seize the means of production? I was like, fucking excuse me? And she was like, do you think we should seize the means of production? Are you familiar with Marxism? And I was like, I mean, a little bit. I mean, I know enough about Marxism now that I can have a full conversation about this, but at the time, I didn't want to embarrass myself to a cute college girl and seem stupid, so I kind of floundered. And then she could tell I was floundering, so she decided to change the subject again just to make me feel a little better. And she was like, so I think insects are aliens. I was like, fucking excuse me? And she was like, yeah, I mean, they're just so different. Everything else, like all the animals have they can be traced back, but insects, no one knows. I think they're aliens. And I didn't know if she was fucking with me, so I was just like, yeah, I could see that. Huh, interesting. And then we went back to her place after Culver's, and she played the ukulele a little bit, and she was actually pretty good, and she told me she was a stripper, and then I went home, and we actually had a couple more dates, but it didn't go anywhere, and so that's the time I dated a stripper. I guess I'll keep going. So the next girl I dated was the next serious relationship, and she was someone that I did shows with. Let's call her Y2K. With Y2K, it was kind of a similar situation where I didn't realize that she was flirting with me right away. So she asked me if I want to go to Culver's because we live in the Midwest. So that's what we do. And we went out to Culver's together, and we talked, and we joked, and then we went home, and then she messaged me later like, hey, would it be cool if I maybe came over for a movie sometime? And I was like, yeah, sure, hell yeah. What do you want to watch? And she was like, Suicide Squad, which had already been out for a year or two, so we had seen it. We both know it's a pretty shitty movie. That should have been my cue. Hey, she's coming over to watch a shitty movie together. She probably doesn't want to watch the movie, but I was just like, okay, sure, we can watch that fucking piece of shit if that's what you're into. So she came over, we watched the movie, the whole movie, and nothing happened. And then afterwards, she looks over at me and she's giving me the eyes, and she's like, hey, 3 gnomes in a fat coat? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I want you to make out with me right now. And I'm like, wow, she's real fucking friendly. No, I'm just kidding. It was more like, hey, I want you to me right here, right now. And I'm like, was it good for you? It was a little fast. We dated, and I'm not gonna bore you with this whole story. We dated for a few years, but ultimately we broke up, and that leads me to meeting my current girlfriend, who let's just call Angel. So I met Angel during a show, and I didn't know if she was flirting with me. Boom, surprise, she was. She thought I was the cat's pajamas, which I didn't know what that meant. So even when I found out she liked me, because that's how she told me. She was like, I was like, hey, I kind of like you. And she's like, well, obviously you're the cat's pajamas. And I'm like, fucking excuse me? I'm what? I'm the cat's pajamas? I'm the cat's pajamas. That means something to you? Like, how would you feel if you told me that you liked me, and I was like, what do you want me to say? You're the fucking turtle's nose hairs, because it doesn't mean anything. And I'm told now that it does, but at the time I thought she was just saying fucking nonsense. Turns out it's similar to, like, bee's knees. Like, oh, you're the bee's knees, which also makes no goddamn sense, but that's the world we live in. Nothing makes sense, and we deal with it. Anyways, I'm really happy with this girl. She kind of completes me and makes me a better person, and I like to think I'm doing the same. And anyways, that's my dating history. I'm tired of talking, so I'm 3 gnomes in a fat suit, and like and subscribe so YouTube knows I'm a big boy channel now. And I don't have a cool sign off, so go fuck yourself.